Hey Internet, how are you? Matt here from Pyramind. Today we have something a little bit interesting. Today's breakdown is Truth Hurts by Lizzo. And the track's obviously blown up. She's fantastic. A lot of fun, a lot of energy in the track. I took a look at the music behind it, and at first glance it's really, really simple. But there's something sneaky happening under the hood with the chords and the progressions. We're going to dig into it in just a minute. At the same time, I'm proud to tell everybody that you're going to debut, if you haven't already seen it, Captain Melody, Captain Chords. The Mixed and Key folks have released version 3, and Captain Melody is pretty effing cool. It solves a lot of problems for people. One of the most common questions I get in mentorship sessions: how do I write a good melody? Well, we at Pyramind worked very closely with the folks at Mixed and Key and have come up with what I think is a pretty seriously cool tool. We're going to dig into that as well. Yes, there are patents pending, just saying. So, without further ado, let's look under the hood of Lizzo, Truth Hurts. This is what the mock-up sounds like. Okay, so you pretty much heard the whole song. The beat is one thing, her is the other thing. She really carries the song. But underneath, there's something kind of cool and interesting happening. And I want to show it to you. It's got a few names. Some people call it modulation, some people call it key change, some people call it mode change. I call it sometimes modal interchange, sometimes people call it chord substitution. This particular move I tend to call moving majors. We're going to dig into it right now. I'm just going to call this thing A minor. You could call it C major. You could call it A major. You can call it anything you want to. At the end of the day, what's really happening is that there's no real chord at all. The piano riff goes like this. It's starting with C, 1 octave, 5 octave. That's the move. And you could do this all day long and create a little kid's melody or whatever you want. That's a 1, an octave, and a 5th. There's no third, which means there's no mood, there's no emotion. There's no major happy, there's no minor sad, there's nothing. There's just this strong and structural, guitar players would call this a power chord. And then it moves to A, does the exact same thing. So it's basically C power chord to A power chord for, and that's the whole song. So the question is, how on earth can you call this modal interchange or chord interchange or modal whatever I'm going to call it, when there's no real chord? And the answer is, I think it's implied. So let's look at this for a moment through the lens of C major. We would have C major, and then going to the 6th chord, A minor. It's the start of, I don't know how many songs from the 50s, right? And then eventually it would end up, that's your 1, 6, 4, 5 major 4-chord pop song. Now, in this song, we don't hear C major 7, you don't hear C minor 7, you don't hear C minor major 7, you don't hear nothing. It's nothing but the most structural elements of any chord. It's like seeing the house being built, seeing the framing, seeing the studs, seeing the roof, and then we're done. No walls, no kitchen, no appliances, no power, no insulation, no windows, no nothing. Just the structure. And then we move the structure around. I think what's happening is that implied is C major and not the A minor, but C major, A major. That's what I hear in my head. I hear this, and then I hear this. It's not in the song. It's not in there. I'm going to go to my friend Captain Chords and I'm actually going to play it along with first, and then I'm going to show you Captain Chords doing what I think is happening. I'm going to first play it for you as if it were just C major, A minor. C major chord, A minor chord. Could be the key of C major, could be the key of A minor. Pretty much the same world. I mean, that's okay. That works. It's pretty boring, pretty common, pretty familiar. But that's not what I think is really happening here. So I'm going to come over here to my friend Captain Chords and show you that for those of you who own this, you can do this. So I set it up to where I have it in the key of A minor. The same as C major, pick one, whatever you like. So it starts on the 3 chord, this guy, and then it moves to the 1 chord. Now, instead of using the 1 that comes with the key, which is this row, I'm using the one that's an alternate, and it sounds like this. Now, you can't see it, but with the complexity down at 2, it's doing what the song is already doing. It's a 1 and a 5, no 3, no 7, no 6, no 2, no. It's just the structure. So right now it's just the studs. I'm going to stick the colors in the middle when I go to complexity 3. So now I have a C major and an A major. Now the question is, why does that work? And again, the answer is moving majors. So if I pull up my piano here, we have a C major to an A major. Watch this C. C is going to go away and become C sharp. So we have this little chromatic motion in the middle. Why does this work? It works because of that chromatic motion. It's close enough that the ear's like, everything else seems to make sense. This, moving to this, makes sense. I can understand that. I've heard that a trillion times. But this, moving to this, is something interesting. It kind of pricks the ear up and says, huh, haven't heard that terribly often. That's new. That's interesting. Moving majors as a concept is something that I think people do all the time, where you take a major chord and then you move it by a minor third. So down to A, it would then go down to F sharp, and then down to D sharp. Let me move up an octave so we can really hear this. You can also move up. C major, and so you end up right here in this A major. So you can either take the major and go down a minor third and land on A, or you could take C major and go up by 1, 2, eventually 3, and find yourself back at A major as well. This is the kind of move that like D&B and jungle guys would do all the time with a major 7, and then all of a sudden pluck it out, up a minor third, and back and forth. So C major 7, and then in this case E flat, major 7. And if I bring that down an octave, moving majors. I think that's what's going on here. C major, A major. Now you could do it C major, A minor, and keep it in the sort of same old boring key, but this to me is a lot more interesting. Lizzo, Truth Hurts. 2 chords that aren't even really chords. It's a 5th power chord to a 5th power chord. But where it gets interesting is your brain fills in the major, which makes it really cool. Let's move on to Captain Melody, which is something brand new, and I'm going to use this song to demonstrate it. So, as you may or may not know, with the Captain tools, the chords set the foundation, and then the other tools, which are bass, deep, and etc., will allow for it to follow along. So if I now bring up Captain Melody version 3, we have an entirely new interface here. I'm just going to highlight all of these guys and clear them out, and I'm going to move this back to 4-bar loop and show you what it can do. So one of the first things that you might want to do in Melody is play your own. If you hit record and then just hit play, boom. I play the notes of the middle row. They are fixed to the key, in this case A minor, and what I played is there. If I hit enter, it's now alive and legitimate. Now, look at the colors. You got blue, you got green, you got yellow, you got red. Does that mean something? And the answer is yes. What it's telling you are what notes are strong, what notes are not as strong, what notes maybe sound so good, and what notes maybe don't sound so good. So it's literally telling you here that some of the notes are stronger or otherwise, or at least create more or less tension, which is the word that they use. It's not necessarily good notes, bad notes, it's tense or not tense. So this is the first thing you might want to do. And as usual, you can sort of drag this down to your DAW and edit it all day long. Or you can go to the move tool and now, you can move notes around. Yay! Amazing. So these are the basic tools. You've got your key. All of this is the same. This is your sound. Here's your tension. You can see where the colors live or don't live. And by the way, this is red. This C is red because at this moment, I'm playing a major, which has a C sharp. So C, not being in the key, Captain is telling you, hey, did you mean to use C? Because it's not really in the key. And you sure that's what you want? That's what's going on. Record. You can import MIDI clips, of course. We'll go to the move tool, move notes around. You can go to the pencil tool and add notes in as you like, and it'll show you what position and scale you're adding here, at what octave, up or down. That's pretty cool. And if you don't like any of this, highlight it and dump it. And if you want to go to the brush tool, which is something really cool, you can simply brush in notes. Well, I don't know that I want every single eighth note to play, so that's kind of boring. Why don't we go to custom and then choose from all of the existing rhythms that Captain has already given you? And this is where I think it gets really sexy. So I'm, for whatever reason, gonna go grab Indivisible. Indivisible is a rhythm pattern, okay? It's not a group of notes, it's a rhythm pattern. So that when I combine the brush and the scale and I paint, it puts notes in rhythm wherever the hell my brush went. You can't see this at home, but Coreyce is right over there smiling, shaking his head, going,
it's all kind of cheating.
yeah, that's going to be the main comment. This is cheating. It's not cheating. It's a tool. It's a tool for those of you who haven't spent the time to get into the piano and nail out the ability to play. It's a tool that allows you your artistic creation with its help. It makes life fast, it makes life fun, and it might give you some pretty awesome results. It might not be exactly what you want, but you can record in your own. So for those of you like myself who like to play in our melodies, knock yourself out. If you're not sure what you want to play, or you're playing melodies and none of them are really sticking, this could be a great way to feed yourself some ideas. Because I could easily take some of this, I could delete, let's say, I don't like any of this stuff, I can get rid of it, and then I can go back to the brush and I can paint in whatever the hell I want. So you can go section by section. You, the artist, still have to bring yourself to the tool, but the tool does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. And if you use a DAW at all, you're already cheating. I said it out loud on camera. You're welcome, internet. So get over the whole cheating thing. That's just, I want to show you a couple other things because the fun doesn't stop there. Great. There's my Malibu rhythm. There is this thing which you can do where if you swipe, well, that's not what I wanted to do. If you swipe the notes, this little magic light bulb shows up. It's the same magic light bulb that looks a little bit like this idea button. And if I click this, it takes your melody and moves it into this brand new way of thinking about melody. This is the way that I think about melody, and this is where Pyramind and Mixed in Key got together. The concept is to decide what's the shape of the melody you like. Is it a shape? Is it a rhythm? Do we talk about the first note? What's the probability of the first note being a sixth? What's the probability of the first note being a third? What's the probability of the first note being a root when you hit update? Because every time you update, it gives you a new variety of your idea. And if you go over to shape, you have this concept called steps and leaps, and then a direction. Is it up and down, random, only up, only down? Anyone who's taken my courses know I talk about something called QDD, which is quality, direction, and distance. This is the direction and distance part. You can also talk about steps, and if I crank all the steps, it gives me this option. If I shrink all the steps and then shrink the leap, you can see what's happening is that now there's no steps, no leaps, it's monotone. And if I increase the leap, it's allowing notes that are further and further apart to creep in. And if I pull this down to kind of a modest level, you can see how the notes start to get a little bit more next to each other. So note to note to note to note to note, next to each other, next to each other. And if I increase the leap, the note to note variation starts increasing. Whereas with steps, if I start increasing things, it's starting to add, okay, well, how far away will the next note be? And you can see with leap turned down, it's really not allowing you to create a melody outside of a very clean, stair-steppy type of line. But the fact that you can play with these two things together and get a really interesting variety of melodies and just update every time to come up with something different is effing incredible. I mean, this is how eventually melody really works in your brain. And now it's in a tool, not cheating. Maybe cheating, I'll let you make your own decisions. I'm sure the commentary will be fierce and intimate. No, it's cheating, it's a tool. Let them. Lizzo, Truth Hurts, moving majors, C major, A major, kind of. Captain Melody, brand new tool, version 3.0, out right now. Really, really astounding. It has, in my opinion, broken open the doors as to how the blend between tools, randomization, artificial intelligence, and leaving enough room for the artist to bring their humanity to bear. I think this hits a really nice line. It's going to make your life a lot easier. And I encourage you everyone to go check it out. Until next time, this has been Matt Donner.
If you're an aspiring music producer and ready to evolve your sound, find out more about our San Francisco ground campus, online classes, and one-on-one mentorships at Pyramind.com.